Hey everyone, in today's session we're going to talk about the scoring engine. Scoring engine is used for pay-ins and payouts when using our IBAN management system. So go ahead and manage that, we're going to go to application, scoring rules, and then transaction scoring rules. The scoring rules themselves are set in two different types, pay-in scoring and pay-out scoring. And after that, for each scoring function, you'll have the actions that you can take place with. So we see here we had multiple rules here configured, some for payout, some for pay-ins, of course, depending on the different types of configuration. So if we set up a new rule, we give it a rule name, the rule. We can choose if it's active or not, of course, and then choose the target type. You can set a rule which is global, meaning every pay in and pay out will be analyzed by this rule. You can set rules on a specific account, meaning choosing a specific merchant account receiving funds or sending funds that we want to analyze a little bit different than the other ones. Mix, it's a combination between both global and account, and that to take that analysis on that part. Program level means that each merchant or customer is associated with a program. So you can say every account that is associated with that program will be analyzed by this set of rules. And by risk classification, each classification means that you can classify an account by high risk, low risk, medium risk, and so on. And then saying if that account belongs to that classification, then let's go ahead and do that. So we're going to keep it at global. We have the options, as I said, between payout scoring and pay in scoring, and then payout scoring results action and pay in scoring result action. Let's start with the pay in scoring. Each group of sections will have different fields that you can analyze. For pay-ins, the amount of the transaction, the risk level of the account, if it's active or not, the different currencies. But the more important stuff is the averages for the last 3 months. If it's the size of the single occurrence, single transfer, the accumulated amount of money in a specific month, in a specific week, weekly, and specific occurrence. And then analyzing the different currency in a transfer, the turnover in the last averages in the last month or the last couple of months on that part, and even analyzing the number of transactions that the account is doing. So if there's unusual behavior in the account doing more than he used to do, and so on, we can whitelist and blacklist the IBAN that is sending the funds from, because this is getting the funds from. So in this case, if we're receiving too much money from an account, it will be suspicious. But if it's an IBAN that belongs to someone they know or that we already pre-validated, you can whitelist it. That way, it will skip over all the other rules on that part. And of course, the other way around, you can blacklist an IBAN if you feel that IBAN is suspicious and you don't want your account to receive funds from that IBAN anymore. Then the last part will be if it's a domestic transfer based on where the merchant is configured and where the IBAN country is coming from on that part. Once that you selected the account, selected the type of field, you can select if it's something contains different parameters, the names. If it's a value of, you can check it if it's higher than, lower than, and so on. And you can even set from a country group. So if the transfer is coming from a specific group of countries, let's say a blacklisted country and so on, you can decide to automatically block it, etc. Once the condition has been set, you can decide the action. You can add a score, meaning your logic will be the higher the score, the riskier the transaction. Or you can decide to remove a score by saying, okay, we can start off with a higher level, and then every additional rule, we're going to deduct the score from that. You can add a flag. Flag means that you're setting up a specific text value. For example, that will be blacklist. Once you put that flag on a transaction, that will automatically in the action section will say check for a flag called blacklist, and then as a result of that make an action. At that part, you can, of course, if there's another rule being analyzed and there's a flag being added before, then decide to remove the flag and set it to pending approval when it comes to that. You can, let's go to pay in scoring action. So in this case, it only relies on two configurations, score or flags. So if the score that we just accumulated from different rules have reached, let's say higher than, greater than, in this case, 50, then decide to put the transfer in pending, notify the merchant about the problematic transfer, notify the admin about the problematic transfer, or blacklist the IBAN altogether. You can decide that if the score is, let's say, greater than 50, or in this case, lower than 50, send it to be approved automatically. So no need for manual approval of the transfer. Or the other way around, if it's higher than, then put it in pending approval. Same logic applies again for the payout scoring. This will stop the approval process when you're analyzing the payout, and then we'll put it aside, and then your team can go ahead and analyze each and every application going out. When looking at that score calculation, you can go to the finance payouts, and every payout request will have the analysis of the score that was associated with it. So let's choose a random one. We can see the score is currently 0. If we go to payout score, we'll see all the rows that have been analyzed, part from global, part associated with the template, and so on, and then make the decision if something will analyze, and as a result of that, make the decision. Since it didn't, you can go through the flow and then manually approve the wire going out. So you have a two-step approval process in the system that can be skipped over if the scoring rules took into action on that part. The rules, once configured, are applied to any pay-in and any payout coming into the system, and will give you the relevant alert when you need to do so. Thank you for listening for the video. Please check out our channel for more videos about how to operate our platform. Thank you.